This is the fourth video about verbs. In the first video, I introduced the concept of verbs. In the second video, I talked about the linking verb, the verb to be. In the third video, I talked about the verb to go. And in this video, I will be focusing on different verb tenses. Now, if you've watched the earlier videos, you'll know that I've already talked about these three tenses. But in this video, we'll look at them a little bit more carefully. And if anybody already knows something about different verb tenses, you'll know that there are way more than three tenses in the English language. But for our purposes, we're just looking at these three tenses. And they are the simple past tense, the simple present tense, and the simple future tense. In the last few videos, I've also explained to you how you can conjugate a verb. And what that means is you can write out how you would use that verb in the different tenses without using the whole sentence. And that's what I've done here in this chart. I've shown you what the verb would look like in each tense, but I haven't written a whole sentence. So let's look at the first verb and the first tense, walked. Right? I walked to the store. That happened at some point in the past. Or in the present tense, I walk to the store every day. You notice here, I also have walks, W-A-L-K-S. So if you were talking about a male or a female, he or she or something, maybe an animal, you would have to say walks. So she walks quickly. And in the future tense, will walk. I will walk to the store to get groceries. Okay, so the past tense. Oh, something else to notice about the verb to walk is that it is what you would call a regular verb. So if we're comparing walked with these other verbs that we have here, our other verbs are irregular verbs. And regular verbs are predictable, right? So when you look at a regular verb, you think, oh, well, to turn it into the past tense, I just add ed onto the end, right? W-A-L-K-E-D. And in the simple present, in the present tense, I just have walk without the ed at the end. And in the future, I just add the word will in front, will walk. But when we're looking at irregular verbs, and all the rest of the verbs in this chart are irregular verbs, it's different. I mean, felt there's definitely no ed at the end of it, right? And feel, okay, well, felt in the past or feel now, or will feel in the future. So maybe I felt happy about how I did in the past, right? Or I feel good right now. And careful, if you're using he, she, or it, right? Maybe the wind feels cold. It feels cold. The wind feels cold, right? Or I will feel better tomorrow. Example. Next verb, slept. I slept too long, right? In the past, right? Or I sleep all day. Or she sleeps all day. Or it sleeps for a long time, right? The cat sleeps for a long time. Or will sleep. I will sleep for a long time. And this last verb, we had a whole video about the verb to be. Right? So you can check out that video. That was our second video, the verb to be. The second verb video. So in the past tense, was, right? And you would use was with I, right? So I was, he was, she was, it was. And then there's also were. You were, they were, we were. And in the present tense, is, it is, he is, she is. Or I am, or you are, they are, we are. And the future is really easy, it's just will be. So you can see how it was important for me to explain the verb to be because of all the different ways that we would have to write it, right? But what I do like about verbs is you can still figure out ways of remembering them, especially when you compare them in a chart like this, all right? Even just think about the future tense here. You notice will walk, will feel, will sleep, will be. Right? All you really need to remember there is will. So take a look at this, try to remember it, and hopefully it will be helpful. And you can have it with you when you're reading or looking at sentences, and hopefully it'll help. So as I've been explaining throughout these videos on verbs, a past tense verb refers to an action that occurred at some time in the past. A present tense verb refers to an action that happens now. And a future tense verb refers to an action that will happen in the future. So I've got 3 different sentences for you, and with each example, I've started off with the present tense, and then I've changed it to the past tense and the future tense. So let's just look at this sentence in the present tense here first. My husband plays golf on Saturday, and he goes fishing on Sunday. So we've got the verbs to play and to go, right? My husband plays golf on Saturday and he goes fishing on Sunday. And that happens every week, all the time, right? In the past tense, my husband played golf on Saturday and he went fishing on Sunday. So you can see that played, right, the verb to play, that's a regular verb because it ends in ed. But this verb went, right, that's the verb to go, that's an irregular verb. And that was our third verb video, was on the verb to go. My husband played golf on Saturday and he went fishing on Sunday. So it can be pretty important to get to know those irregular verbs. So in the future tense, and the trick with the future tense is to remember that word will. My husband will play golf on Saturday and he will go fishing on Sunday. Another way to say this, my husband will play golf on Saturday and go fishing on Sunday. That would be correct too, right? But you know, if you're not sure, just use will both times. My husband will play golf on Sunday and he will go fishing on Sunday. My husband will play golf on Saturday and he will go fishing on Sunday. Next example. I always get groceries and I always make dinner. So we have the verb to get and to make. In the past, I always got groceries and I always made dinner. In the future, I will always get groceries and I will always make dinner. Now, some of you might be saying, well, what's with this word always? I always get groceries and I always make dinner. Always is an adverb. So you don't just get them, you always get them. You don't just make it, you always make it. Right? And so you can put that adverb in front of the verb, right? Here in the past tense, right? I always got groceries and I always made dinner. So if we're looking at the present tense and the past tense, that adverb will come before the verb. But if we look at the future tense, what happens is the word will has to go first. Always will go in the middle. The adverb always will go in the middle. And then the rest of that verb phrase will go at the end. So in the future tense, right, remember, you'll have to say will get or will make. And that's actually a verb phrase because it's more than one word to make up that verb, right? So you would call that a verb phrase. And what we end up doing is we end up splitting up that phrase, right? We have will always get, will always make. I will always get groceries, and I will always make dinner. Last example. This is the present tense. Larry goes to Florida in the winter, but he stays home in the summer. So the verbs there are to go, Larry goes to Florida, right? And to stay, he stays home in the summer. So the past tense. Larry went to Florida in the winter, but he stayed home in the summer. So we've got this verb, that's the verb to go, right? Larry went. Then we've got a regular verb to stay, and it's a regular verb. It's regular because it ends in ed, right? It's predictable. That's good. Future tense. Larry will go to Florida in the winter, but he will stay home in the summer. So hopefully these examples will be helpful, and I look forward to the next video.